Morning. Welcome. You drove in this weather, so thank you for doing that, and I welcome you there on the holy interwebs. I'm glad you're here. And I thank you all for contributing to the service. It takes a lot, and you guys do such a fine job to make it seamless, easy, effortless. So thank you. If you would have been there, you would have found that the church was packed. 2,000 people showed up at the Second Baptist Church, at the First Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. It was so packed that they were sitting in the aisles, standing in the aisles. They were even on the windowsills, up in the balconies. People, so many showed up. They showed up to listen to this 26-year-old preacher. Yeah, you guessed right, Martin Luther King Jr. He came to speak, and as they were looking at him, they could tell that he looked weary. And as he was looking back at the crowd, he could also see that they were weary too. This was January 1956. And they had been 2 months into the bus boycott. And it took so much walking, ride sharing. They were fired, there were firings. They were ridiculed. They were actively attacked for boycotting, for trying to integrate the bus, the system in Alabama. And that day, the organizers decided to change their strategy. And they decided it's not enough just to integrate the bus system, but they, in fact, were going to file a lawsuit to end racial discrimination. And it was left to this 26-year-old preacher to break it to the crowd that this is what is going to happen. And they had been gathering there night after night because this preacher told them that their cause wasn't just and true, but it was beautiful. And they needed to hear that because they were taking so much aggression for daring to proclaim, to claim some rights. And as he was speaking there, constantly reminding the crowd to protest nonviolently, to love through all that they do, through this whole struggle, maintain love and kindness and maintain compassion and connection. While just a couple of miles away, his house at that time was bombed, with his wife and baby in the house. And it was about the middle of the service during offertory when he realized that there were messengers coming in and out of the church, and they had a very grave look on their face, and then eventually he asked, "What is going on?" And they told him honestly, "Look, your house was bombed, and we do not know if your wife and child are all right." So he, think about this, calmly walked back up to the pulpit, and again with the serene calmness that would become that he would be known for in the future, with that calmness, he said, "This happened, and he was going home, that the crowd should go home too, that they should stay peaceful, and it will be okay." But the crowd did not go home. In fact, they grabbed whatever they could get their hands on, guns, bats, knives. And by the time he arrived to his house, there was a couple hundred, maybe more, African Americans gathered there. And they were facing a cordon of policemen. And that didn't help, because the crowd knew that even if the policemen didn't plant that bomb, they were certainly there to protect the ones who did. And so he went into the house to find that his wife and baby were shaken but okay. They prayed. And then the police chief came and asked him to go speak to the crowd, because it was all getting very heated. And so he walked out there to the front porch, stepped across all the rubble, broken glass, wood, building material. And he told the crowd to go home. He told the crowd to put down whatever weapon they found, whatever weapon they had, put it down, go home. Everything is all right. He also told them that those who live by the sword die by the sword. He believed in these teachings. And then he told them to love their enemies. He said, be good to them. Be good to them. And the crowd dispersed. And that was remarkable. That was a time when this country saw tremendous upheaval. There was a lot of injustice dished out then too. And so he came and he spoke against it, and he struggled for justice, for equality. And it is so ironic that he, the one who spoke so committedly about love, in fact was the most hated man in America. That the one who spoke and really struggled and wanted people to have prosperity and universal income, he had so little for himself. And he who believed so strongly in nonviolence died by a bullet to his face. And we could say that up till about a month ago, his work was unfinished. That there was still more work to do to bring that world, that dream that he had. That work was unfinished. And today, that work is actively undone. And that is a tragedy. It is a tragedy that this is Black History Month, and the Pentagon is not allowed to celebrate it or mention it. What else is to come? We are back to pre-racial justice era. I see these signs, and I have it in my front yard, that says, love wins. And again, the times. When I put that sign in we put that sign in our front yard, and I looked at it, I liked it, and I loved it. And I look at it now, and I think it's lacking. Because the times have changed. And I think, for me, it would be more accurate to say love has to be won. And sometimes love wins, and sometimes love has to be won. And knowing the difference is being in touch with the current times. MLK wasn't popular. He also was a human being. You know, sometimes we think that, sure, it was easy for him to be this activist and this hero and this amazing human being, but he wasn't that. It's not how it started. He was just a young man, and I don't even know that he chose the cause. I sometimes think the cause chose him, and he just could not say no. And regardless of what he felt and how he felt, he just said, yes, yes, I will lead. Yes, I will do this, because if I don't, who will? And he wasn't popular because, contrary to what we believe that he was a preacher, I believe that he was a prophet. And a prophet is never popular, because a prophet doesn't come and say, you're doing everything so well. Honey, kudos to you. A prophet shines a beam of light on all the things that are not working in society. A prophet points out the problems and calls upon people to step up, step in, and make it right. You should keep doing everything the way you've been doing, said no prophet ever. And that was Martin Luther King Jr. He was a prophet. And that's why he wasn't popular, but needed. And I think that today too we need prophets who may not be popular, but needed. Needed to inspire the rest of us to not allow our rights to go away, but claim them, reclaim them, and further them. Further them. Do not allow for the hard-fought rights to be taken away. We've got to do everything in our power to make sure that we hold on to them, and don't just hold on to them, but keep expanding rights, keep giving rights. That when the government says we don't care about diversity anymore, we don't want to hear about inclusivity, we double down. We double down and we say, but we do. You work for us, and we do. Prophets are needed today because love, once again, has to be won. And I think the most important thing now is community. Community, community, community. We will find our strength in each other. We will strengthen our vision, and we will clarify the path together. There are times when we don't know what to do, so we come together, and then together we find a way. And we develop a strategy, and then we implement it. Community, community, community. Know who you can trust. Know where you can go and be safe and accepted and welcomed at all times exactly the way you are. And then cling to that community and give it your all, for that community will support you, for that community will give you life. So if you are out there and you are watching this talk and you are not tethered to a community, find yourself a community. A community that shares your values, a community that stands for love, inclusivity, kindness, compassion, a community that is willing to stand strong for their beliefs, even in times of danger, even when the powers to be want the exact opposite. Find yourself a community and live in it and contribute to it and let that community support you. And I love it that here we do the same. I love it that we have one another to lean on, to glean wisdom, strength, grow our backbone together. So may we listen to the prophets of our day. May we fight for love. And throughout all, may we stay loving, kind, open. Because if we don't, we will lose the very thing that we're fighting for. May it be so. May it be so now, tomorrow, and for as long as it is needed. Thank you.